All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. Hey, high functioning Black girls. We are so excited that you are here with us tonight at our very first broadcast. I'm so excited that you found time to be with us here tonight as we talk about cultivating a village, the importance of Black female friendships. We're so excited that Dr. Neisha Wiley is here with us tonight, and she is going to be dropping so many gems on Black female friendship, how to cultivate Black female friendships, and we're going to talk about how to navigate that in a healthy way. So we are so excited that you are here. We see you in the comments. We are celebrating so many milestones tonight. Again, not only is this our very first programming event, this is our very first broadcast, and today is our very first anniversary. So thank you all again for making time to be here with us. We are so excited. Get your snack, put your bonnet on. We want you to feel comfortable in your homes as we have a very intriguing conversation tonight. All right. So we want to know how you found out about high functioning Black girls. How did you find out about this community? Please use the emojis on your keyboard or on your phone to let us know how you were led to this community. Was it TikTok, which is our biggest following right now? Was it Facebook or Instagram? Was it a friend or Twitter? Please let us know. We would love to see where you found out about us from. And then we would also like to know where you're tuning in from. Shout out to all of my Ohio people who are on today. But wherever you're from, please tune in and let us know in the comments again exactly where you found out about high functioning Black girls. Awesome. So, ladies, it has been a crazy and exciting 30 days. Just in the last month, we started posting live here on social media, and collectively we have over 34,000 beautiful Black women who are just ready to heal, who are ready to break generational curses, and who are ready to show up for themselves in a brand new way and take ownership of their mental health journeys. So you can see on your screen, we have over 32,000 community members on Facebook. We have over 1,700 on Instagram and 500 plus on our Facebook page. And that doesn't even include our group. So we just want to say thank you so much again for taking this brave step to own where you are in your journey and for finding community. And so we're so excited about what is going to come from this space and just all this, again, that's going to come. So we are so excited. I count it as a true privilege to be before you tonight. My name is Taryn, and not only am I the visionary and founder behind this amazing movement and organization, but I too identify as a high functioning Black girl. And so this space was really birthed from a personal place where I was feeling like I was navigating through some things. I felt alone in that process, but I'm like, I know there are other women who feel the way I feel, who feel like they have to smile through a lot of things and keep pushing, but they're navigating things in the background. And I said, there is not a community for us out there to just be together, and sometimes just knowing that someone has a shared experience can really just help you navigate through that. So I count it as an honor that you are here with us, and again, thank you so much for taking time to be here. So we just want to just touch on our mission and our vision. We empower high achieving and high functioning Black women and girls with mental health diagnoses to take the next step in their healing journeys via community support and resources. And our vision is a world where shame is eliminated and Black women feel empowered and connected to tools and resources to heal and to properly navigate their mental health diagnosis. So before we hop in and introduce our exciting and amazing speaker, we just want to give a disclaimer to tonight's event. The information provided throughout this event is for educational and informational purposes only, and it is solely provided as a self-help tool for your own use. We do not promote any trauma bonding, and we do not intend to provide mental health treatment in a group setting. and this event does not constitute as a client-therapist relationship. If you or someone you know is suicidal or in emotional distress, please contact 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline number, and a trained crisis worker will be available to address your needs 24/7. So you can do that via phone call or via text. Thank you so much for understanding these guidelines. All right, so I am so excited to introduce our speaker tonight. If you have been on TikTok Live with me last week, I have spoke so highly of her, and I've shared with you just a piece of how I got to know her. She has just really helped me and one of my best friends really just navigate through a very delicate time in our friendship. And so, because tonight our topic is about cultivating a village and really sustaining Black female friendships, I asked her to come be with us today and just really again drop some gems with us. So I am going to share her bio and then welcome her to the stage. Miss Dr. Neisha Wiley earned her undergraduate and graduate degrees from the University of Cincinnati's School of Social Work. And in 2020, she graduated from Northern Kentucky University's Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership program. She is a licensed social worker in the state of Ohio, and she has worked in the field of social work for over 20 years, ranging from addiction, severe mental health, teens, maternal health, children with disabilities, foster youth, young adults, first generation students, and adult learners. Dr. Wiley has also been recognized for her leadership outside of the classroom. And on December 15th of 2022, which was a couple months ago, she received two Outstanding Service Awards from the NASW, which is the National Association of Social Workers Ohio chapter. The first for her work in the Cincinnati region, and the second for statewide efforts. Dr. Wiley chaired the NASW's Committee for Associate Degree Students Engagement, assembling a team to help influence associate degree level social workers to become members of the organization. Dr. Wiley's research interests include attrition in social work, women, self care, intersectionality, and access to underrepresented populations in higher education. She also has some published research out, so please feel free to Google her name and look into some of the amazing work she has done. And lastly, her therapeutic approach consists of cognitive behavioral, motivational interviewing, and solution focused therapy techniques. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Neisha Wiley to the stage. Hi, Dr. Wiley.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hey, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We are so excited that you are in this space with us to share your many years of wisdom, your expertise, and just your just information from just a really sound place. So we are so excited that you are our very first guest here. And thank you for taking the time to be here with us.
I'm super honored. Thank you. I just have one question, Miss Taryn. Thank you so much for thinking of me. I just have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Now that all I had in my head was, how about who this woman?
She is you,
How
okay?
about who this woman?
She is you. I know it's so hard when you hear like things about yourself. You're like, oh, I did all of that. That's me.
Who this woman?
You are the bomb. You are
Absolutely, I'm
absolutely
excited.
the
Thank you. But again, seriously, thank you so much for one for providing this safe space like this and
bomb.
providing this platform. When using this platform, and thank you for your transparency, because it took transparency and it took courage to do this. And as you can see, like you said, you're not alone. So
I am
I'm
not
excited to
alone.
be here. Thank you. And I'm so humbled and I'm so honored, honestly. So thank you.
You are not going to make me cry just yet. I'm really trying to save the tears for the end. But I say thank you. Yes, it really took a lot of seasons of just listening to God in that quiet time and just wondering, God, what are you going to do with these experiences? Um, that I'm going through. And so just to see how he has moved in this space has truly been transformational. So thank you so much for sharing that.
He repurposed the pain. So
You
I
know,
knew recycling
if
would come in handy, right?
I could run around this room and everybody could see it, I would do that. But I'm not a track star, so I am gonna stay put. And we are gonna get started, and we want to start off by asking you, what does Black female friendship mean to you? And also, in the same breath, whenever you want to transition into that, why is it important for us to learn how to be open and learn how to sustain healthy female friendships?
Okay, so I'm honestly going to answer the question with parts of the question, right? So
Yes,
to me, I believe that Black female friendships are important because they have to be open and they have to be healthy and they have to be able to sustain us. So basically equals village, right?
right.
So to me, it is imperative for these relationships to exist because as we go throughout our lives as mothers, as parents, as caregivers, as spouses, as friends, as all the roles that we carry, right? When we look at intersectionality, thank you, Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw. So when she talks about that and all those roles that we carry, I mean, who's going to help to sustain us in that? Because this world is the way it is, and we are so peppered in. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of us in the community, but yet in the larger world, there's few of us in certain spaces.
Yeah.
So when we have to leave our village and community and go out to the larger world to be who we need to be for the world, that can be lonely and hard and all those things within each one of those roles, right? And depending
Right.
on the week, there could be crazy happening in each role, right? But you need that Black female friendship relationship that is sustained and open and transparent that you can fall into when you need to. So to me, it means that it's imperative and important to have in this life to me.
I love hearing that. And just when you said just fall into it, I just even think of times, again, no trauma bonding, but just thinking of the hardest and most delicate times in my life, how Black female friendship has carried me through those moments. And I'm just grateful that I personally, I am not perfect, but I feel like I was able to work through a pretty bad place of trauma and mistrust to really get to a place and give people a chance to show up for me and me show up for them. And so I just really value what you have said. And yes, for me personally, it means everything to me. Again, just in those very delicate moments, it has carried me through. And it has just been such a great support. So thank you so much for sharing that. Y'all, she's just dropping wisdom already and speaking from her heart. So as you can tell, she is going to be so dynamic for us tonight. Really just want to give some background and let you know that we survey our community members and ask them about their experiences in Black female friendships. So we reached out to our members of our Discord group chat and our Facebook group, and we sent out a survey. And so as we move through tonight, a lot of the questions and informations that we see here today will be as a result from that survey. And so, one of the questions that we asked on that survey was, we asked our members to select the best option that describes the amount of years they have experienced healthy Black female friendship. And as you can see from the chart, we're a little bit all over the place, but we can see, especially in the red and blue, that most of our community was split between having less than 5 years or 5 to 10 years. So, really would love to just get your input from that, and then would love for you to share more with us, kind of what else you see or observe from these findings here.
Yeah, when I looked at this chart, it really just to me was just equivalent to life in general, right? So when we look at the 29.1% in both the 5 to 10 year span and then the less, than 5 year span. When we look at that, it's kind of equivalent to what happens as we get older. Because when you look at the chart, it goes from for people who've been friends from 10 to 20 years, it goes down to it drops by 9%. And then when we look at 20 to 30, I mean it's really low.
Yeah.
It's less than 9%. Then you got folks that's been friends for 30 to 40 years. Well, it gets even in lower. And then even when and if you look at it for the 40 plus years, there's nothing there. And then it goes straight to none. So when we look at lifespan anyway, it's just people, right? There's a human being. Over our lifespan, things happen. People get married, people move, people lose contact, people, we graduate from high school, we go from, from the elementary to middle to high school, friends kind of start to die off and fall off. And then as we get older, again, people get married, people move, people change jobs, people, you have to relocate. It's just all different kinds of things that kind of happen. And that circle just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's harder to keep those connections anyway. So really, but for us as Black women, as we know, okay, the world is out here. The parameters for us is always cut in half. So
Mm.
in a sense, it really is really depicting what happens within our community as a whole anyway, because we have lots of independent variables that go in this: health problems, health concerns that may be different than the majority or worse, or different things like that. Lifespan looks different. So this picture is going to look a lot different. But the concern here, which is why I'm glad you're doing this, is that how we go from nobody in the 40 to plus years. Okay, all right. I mean, that again, lifespan could be a part of that, right? Because of health concerns, poverty, or whatever is going on. And then it went to none. And that's the scary part, because who are those people who don't have anything? So having things like this is these numbers, and seeing this is definitely a great thing to see, to be able to drive home more outreach to try to figure out how can we change that, how can we help to build community.
Absolutely. And thank you for walking us through that. And again, just analyzing and honing in on what it looks like for us, like you said, to only be a fraction of the bigger picture of the world, and why this is concerning, which is going to lead us into our next phase of this conversation. On that survey, we also asked our community members, would you consider yourself to have successful Black female friendships? And if not, why do you think that it is difficult for you to deepen/sustain your relationships with other Black women? So we got over 55 responses from this survey. So I think we got a really good mix of answers. And in asking this specific question, we surveyed through and really just finagled through everything, all of the results, and we found 6 common themes come up. Yes, in those surveys. And so on your screen here, for everyone watching, you can see that collectively we have found the difficulties to be a lack of communication skills, a lack of reciprocity, a lack of cultural socialization, influencing mental health factors, trauma, and growing pains. So we can see here that these were the key themes and the common themes that showed up. And so, Dr. Wiley, we just want to walk through this with you. And we have also, as we move into that first one, lack of cultural socialization, we asked for our community members' permission, and we wanted to put some of their comments and weave them into this conversation. And so we can see here that in regards to a lack of cultural socialization, our community members have said things that, such as, I don't have a lot of common Black female friends. I get really anxious in my relationships, especially with Black individuals. I feel like they judge me and I never fit in with them. And I'm usually outcasted or not cool enough to hang in the crowd. Someone else said they're just not socialized in areas where Black people live. And then our other comment we received was, although I really only have a few, I think that if I lived somewhere else and had community in those spaces, I could be connected. So we see a lot of not living in environmental factors that can influence those relationships, but then also someone is sharing that they are anxious and they feel like they stick out like a sore thumb. Could you talk to us about this issue of lack of cultural socialization?
Yes, absolutely. Just to be able, because when I saw this, I had to even to do a little more research, a little more digging to really make sure I really understood the lack of cultural socialization and what that really entails. And what the gist of it is really about a sense of belonging.
Mm,
So it's just about the sense of belonging. When we think of the senses, we think of senses how we feel, and of meaning a part of, and then belonging. Do I feel like I belong? Do I get a sense that I belong here? So I think that that is what that is talking about. Because if you look at what everybody was saying, it's about location. Maybe I'm not in the right space. Maybe I'm not, it's not feeling right. It's not feeling like the crowd. Is this enough? Or, I'm feeling judged or different things. So it's about the feeling. So it's about emotions. And it's about if you're feeling comfortable and if you feel like you belong in this place. So the question then becomes, how do we really get a true sense of belonging when we're in spaces that are unfamiliar, or when we are in spaces that are new, or if we're in spaces that are familiar, but yet we may have changed.
yes.
And yet, okay, a sense of belonging is not as strong because I don't do what I used to do. So this is not going to work for me no more. So then the question becomes, how do we then take that? One, become self-aware of that. Two, then start to kind of figure out, how do we really position ourselves to be able to see what that sense of belonging feels like. How do we do that? And I definitely have a strategy that worked for me, and I can't wait at some point to be able to dig into that, because I think it's coming a little later. We'll talk about that, so remind me. I probably won't forget it, but I have a really good strategy on how to really start to put yourself in a position where you can start to cultivate those relationships and increase that cultural socialization through a lens of sense of belonging. So
Yes. We love that. And you are literally leading us into the question that we received. Oh my gosh, it is here. Let me tell you, you were just in the spirit on
everybody
that.
dance. Let's do it.
You
I can't see.
were,
Hey, hey.
because you are in it on that one. The question that we received from one of our community members was, how can I work through feelings of isolation and a lack of acceptance that they feel is projected by other Black women?
I think I'm going to have to break this question up just a little bit.
Please.
Okay, so how can I work through feelings of isolation? We're going to deal and or the lack of acceptance. Okay, so let's kind of break this down a little bit. So how can I work through the feelings of isolation? So let's deal with that first. So the first part of this is, okay, one, recognizing that you feel isolated, because a lot of times we get our feelings confused. Sometimes we get it confused. I'm just angry, or I'm just upset, or it's just my cycle, or I'm just all these other things, when really we really haven't dug deep to find out exactly what the emotion is. So of course I'm always going to push, having community, which right now we're trying to figure out what that looks like. But if that is not something that's accessible right in the moment because you're still trying to figure things out, this is where tapping into therapy, connecting with someone, a life coach, somebody that can positively help you move in a direction to kind of get to the gist of what those feelings truly are. So it's like, no, I'm not angry. Actually, I feel kind of alone. I feel kind of isolated. So I think, one, naming what it is, and then looking at your community that you do have that's existing. And if it's working, and if it's not working, then how do we fix that? Right. And then start to move in a direction to try to change the environment, or change, who you're around, or what you're trying to create around yourself, to help to not feel that feel the feeling isolated? What does that, what if you could wake up, the miracle question, if you could wake up tomorrow and isolation wasn't on the table, what would that world look like? What would you be involved in? What would you be connected? And kind of having someone that can walk you through things like that to really help you work through those feelings, and one, naming the feelings so we know we working on the right feelings, and then helping move you to a place of trying to remove those feelings and replace it with something positive that is life-giving, right? So then we want to go into the second part of the question, or the lack of acceptance I feel projected by other Black women. So this piece right here is so transparent, because you're being honest about the fact that I don't know if that woman accepts me or not.
Yes.
I don't know if she does, but I feel that maybe other Black women don't accept me. So again, I'm gonna push it because I'm just going to. But this is where a therapist is really good. And again, therapy is a relationship. If it don't work out, it don't work out. Keep shopping. All right. Because you'll meet somebody who will be able to meet the need. That's what I'm gonna say about that for now. But what I'm saying is, there is a question and some things that you will have to kind of peel back on some layers with this to figure out the core. Note, and I use a lot of analogies, everyone. Okay, so let's just get that out the way. So, like I'm going to go just right, like a boil. Everybody know what a boil is? A boil, a side, an ingrown hair, ingrown toenail. If you ain't never had none of that, you know somebody that has, okay? So the idea is that there's a core problem, right? There's a core that's causing the pus and causing all the issues, that is just this big red thing. You pop that boil, come to find out, it is a core probably no bigger than my fingernail. It is a little itty bitty disc that caused this big old commotion. But once it's out, what is it? Relieved. Once that core is out, that boil pops, it's relief. And it can do what? Heal. So now, and you put salve, you put all the things, the stuff and all the things to get it healed. And that's what connecting with a therapist will help you with that. Because there's something that happened. There's a lived experience that you had that made you believe that you're not accepted. And specifically by Black women. So what happened? Some form of trauma, some form of something that didn't leave you with a sense of belonging. So that's, I don't know if that answers the question.
Oh, it absolutely answered the question. And you said so many important things, and loved the analogy. That is very personal to me. So when you said it, I'm like walking through all the steps you take. Really love how you broke that down, because kind of like you said, when we get in our feelings or we see things through a certain perspective, we can kind of create our own stories in our own mind, and then we get in our feelings and we're stuck there. And I love how you said, really take the time to find a therapist and walk through whatever you're feeling, and make sure that the root of that is that exact feeling that aligns. So instead of just saying you're isolated, like making sure that you are identifying the correct terminology with whatever you're navigating in regards to this, in a sound place, because y'all know how we be when we're going through things. And because I know I am one of the ones, I will walk myself from A to Z, and I will sit there. And sometimes I need to go into a safe space with someone who won't judge me for sharing exactly what I am navigating, and give me some sound critique on how to navigate that and get to the root. So I love how you said we must go beyond pretty much how we feel, but we should also, again, go to a sound place and work through that and get to the root so that we can heal whatever that is that we are feeling, in regards to a lack of acceptance. So thank you so much for walking us through that. I absolutely love that. Y'all clap in the comments if this is just speaking to you so far. Dr. Wiley is just amazing. And we are going to move into that next segment, which is this common theme, should I say. lack of communication skills. So this was another common theme that we found on our survey. And we also talked about this on TikTok. So if any of my TikTok girlies are in here and you were on the live, please comment and let us know that you were there. But some of you were saying that you tend to pull away from people in regards to not really communicating on how you want to sustain and seek these Black female friendships. So you pull away. Some women say their difficulty is they have a hard time trusting people, so they have a hard time being vulnerable. They also said, I don't think this is a priority. Like, I haven't made this a priority in my life to really spend time with my friends, or I haven't really learned how to healthily nurture a Black female friendship. And then the other person kind of said the same thing. They don't always communicate. And that last part is very common. Y'all know how we do. Our sister said she waits for someone to reach out to her first before she says hello or initiates any communication. We do that sometimes, and I just really appreciate the transparency here. Again, just owning up to where we all are and just saying, look, sometimes I know what the issue is. It's me, and I wait for other people to reach out to me first. Any comments you want to make about this theme, Dr. Wiley?
Yes, I think it really kind of goes back into what I was just explaining before with the other questions. When I look at these responses, it is it speaks to me that there was some form of lived experience that was traumatic. And when we think of trauma, we think of something real bad, right? We think of something where there's violence and then all that. That's the only thing we think of. But if you at some point in your life was really in tune with someone and you really felt that it was all the great things kind of happening in that relationship, and then all of a sudden this person kind of falls off and ignores you and they're no longer communicating with you, that's traumatic.
Yes.
Okay, that's trauma. That's traumatic. It is not like, I think if we kind of revisit trauma and kind of look at what it is and how it affects a person, we probably were a little more traumatized than our lived experiences than we want to believe. And it can be a little overwhelming. When you're like, oh Lord, that was trauma there. That was trauma. Oh my gosh. But it will help you to understand why you feel like you're a bother. Or it'll make you kind of look at, why are you having a hard time trusting people? What happened? Did you trust somebody and they told your business? Did you trust somebody and they betrayed you some kind of way? Did you trust somebody and then something happened? And why do you feel the need to pull away? Why are you protecting yourself? Why do you feel like you need to go in protection mode? Because each one of these is a defense mechanism against something. So I think that if we want to try to turn this thing around with this lack of communication in regards to why you are not trying to communicate or trying to connect, you have to do some self-awareness kind of searching to figure out, again, what is that core? What happened? And listen, show yourself some grace and take your time. Because when you find that core, what happens? It don't grow back there. It heals and it's fine. You never get a boil in that area again because the core is out. So that's what we have to try to search for at this point. And I love, Taryn, the fact that you're having people tell the truth about themselves and not necessarily, how come I don't trust her? Like, this is about, why don't I trust nobody? Why do I not feel like I can communicate? It's about you. It's about you and who you are in the relationship, because you are the common denominator in all your relationships.
Whew. Sometimes we're the problem.
Or sometimes we don't know we are.
Yes.
until we realize we the common denominator, and then all of them kind of ending up a certain kind of way, or then all of them not ending up a certain kind of way. Are you, and especially when we go to this next one, I can't wait to talk about that, but it's kind of happening in that sense. And then, but you the common denominator in them though. So that means it's time to take a step back and really get to the core of these kind of answers, and get to the core, pluck it out, clean it out, put some positivity in there, and allow that thing to heal over. It's nothing like beauty marks, right? Scars, battle wounds.
Nothing like it.
I love to see it.
You know what? If I had a collection plate I could pass to you virtually, I would absolutely do that, and I'm sure it would be filled because, again, the way that you are gracefully walking us through this and just really gently reminding us to look at the common themes here. Again, just looking at yourself and how you show up in all of your relationships and how this all kind of ties back to ourselves. Like the way you're just gracefully doing this, I couldn't pay you enough. Like as you're talking us through this, love that. So let's hop into our next community member question from that topic, which I think you kind of already answered, which is how do I be vulnerable in my relationships and how do I have hard conversations? I guess we didn't get into that, but how do we have hard conversations instead of shutting down on those that we care about?
So I did. I did touch on it a little bit. And I think again, this is one of those questions we got to break down again because it's about the vulnerability piece in relationships. Remember, why can't you do it? What happened? Right? So that's that searching again that you got to kind of go back in a stack and peel back those onions. Peel back that onion and go, whoa. What happened? What's the core of this? Why can I not be vulnerable in my relationship? So that's number one. But this second part about the have hard conversations instead of shutting down on those I care about, I just need to kind of understand a little bit. Are we saying having hard conversations and then when they have them with us, we shut down? Is that what they're saying? Or are they saying the hard conversations and then that person shuts down? Like who's shutting down is what I'm trying to get clarity.
So that's a great question. I probably can't interpret that, but I'm wondering even if, again, it's like, we know that we need to have certain conversations with people, but we don't know how to approach that. And we don't know how to be honest and vulnerable and be comfortable in that vulnerability enough to be honest and instead of just walking away. So how do we approach it that way?
Well, I think, Taryn, this is the time to bring in Bell Hooks, Dr. Bell Hooks. So if some of you guys, what we talked about the other day. So if some of you, I'll just say Dr. Bell Hooks is God rest her soul. She was a wonderful, wonderful soul who gave us so much life, guys, as women, Black women. I mean, oh my goodness. But she's written several books. She did several things in her life, and she recently passed away last year. And it was hard because she's given so much to our community. But in her book, Sisters of the Yam, okay, Black Women and Self-Recovery, I will just go to this specific chapter because it touched me so much that I literally had to do this. I read this book for an assignment when I was working on my degree. And I tell you something, it hit me so tough that I literally had to stop doing the work for a minute. I couldn't get the assignment done for a week because it hit me that hard, because I could not go there to talk about what this felt to me. So bear with me because I want to read what she wrote. Okay. So in her book, Sisters of the Yam, Black Women and Self-Recovery, chapter 2, it's called Tongues of Fire, Learning Critical Affirmation. I am going to skip to page 27. Okay. And I'm on page 27 and I'm in the last paragraph. Okay. And so To heal our wounds, we must be able to critically examine our behavior and change. For years, I was a sharp-tongued woman who often inappropriately lashed out. I have increasingly learned to distinguish between reading and telling the truth. Watching my behavior, actually jotting down on paper how many negative, critical comments I made in a day, helped me to change my behavior. Most Black women know what it is like to bear the brunt of a brutal tongue lashing. Most of us have been told the truth about ourselves in ways that have been hurtful and humiliating. Yet, even so, many of us continue to see harsh critique as a means to strengthen character. We need to know that constructive critical affirmation is just as effective a strategy for building character, if not more so. We find this out through our ongoing practice of critical affirmation. Often the harsh, abusively critical voice of authority that we heard in childhood enters us. Then we no longer have to be in the presence of a dominating authority figure to hear that voice, for it speaks to us from within. In self-healing, Black women can identify that voice within ourselves and begin to replace it with a gentle, compassionate, caring voice. When we see the positive results in our lives, we are then able to extend the generosity we give ourselves to others. Having silenced the negative voice within and replaced it with loving, caring criticism, it is also important for Black women to practice speaking in a loving and caring manner about what we appreciate about one another. Lastly, for such an action makes it evident to all observers, everybody watching us, of our social reality, that Black women deserve care, respect, and ongoing affirmation.
No, I'm speechless because I was listening to that same exact part last night in the audiobook, and the way that that broke me down, I'm just like, I mean, every page is just like you're getting slapped on every page. I mean, bell hooks, phenomenal. And that excerpt that you just um, shared with us, to really start paying attention to those critical comments we hear, and even probably the ones we make about ourselves, and shining a light on that, to really just, again, like you said, replace even um, the negative way that we might speak, or the negative way that we might hear things said about us, with positive affirmation. I love how
Absolutely.
you said that we really have to learn how to adopt that. And so we try to even share in our space affirmations at least once a week, to really help us ground ourselves throughout the week. But you said uh, once we did that, it would really shift how other groups of people
Yes,
see us
treat us and
and
see us.
treat us.
Uh-huh.
That's the key.
I've got something I want to say. So let's take this question, guys. Let's do an exercise. Let's take this question and do what Bell Hooks just told us to do. So this question now becomes a statement. I can be vulnerable in my relationships when I feel a sense of belonging. I can have hard conversations and not shut down when I approach it with care and respect and gentleness, and when they do the same. See that?
Felt it.
That's replacing it, right? With I can't be vulnerable. I can't have hard conversations. No. Yes, you can. Right?
Simple as that. Somebody just said in the comments. That's it. That's it. Like,
So it's like the question you ask, flip it. I
Mm.
can if I have this. I can do this if I choose to use these words and not tongue lashing. Yeah. Yes.
Bell hooks.
Yes.
Sisters of the Yam. And we have a book club coming, so that is definitely on our list, ladies. So if you ain't got it yet, please be in the process of getting that because we're definitely gonna dive into that. Yes, so it all, like you said, and Bell Hook said, starts with our words and really shifting to use more transformational dialogue with ourselves that will help us to then improve how we interact and how we show up and how vulnerable we can be. But like you said, also how others see us. So love that. Absolutely love that. I wish we could stay there, but we are going to move on to our next theme, which I know that we briefly talked about how all this kind of ties in with the other. But what is up next that was a common issue in Black female friendships for our community was a lack of reciprocity and growing pain. So we tried to put these two together, and some of the comments we received was that some of our community members feel like they've never grown at the same pace in every friendship. They have a hard time finding friends who offer genuine support without always looking for something in return. And someone said, honestly, I don't even remember when or where things kind of went wrong. I've always wanted to be a good friend. I'm sure I have fallen short a few times, but I make sure to check myself and keep trying my best every day. A comment just came up, so I can't. Okay, there it is. That last line. Just like I want my friends to be for me. And then that last comment we see here. I tend to choose friends who benefit more so from me than I do from them. Can you talk to us about really evaluating our relationships and making sure that there is what we're putting out that we're receiving, and how do we navigate and evaluate that?
I think it ties into what we were basically just saying, like about the whole self-awareness piece. You know, why do you choose friends like that? What was your lived experience that made you believe that that's the kind of friends that you're comfortable being around? What was your lived experiences that taught you that, to choose those kinds of folks? Like, what, especially because again, you're the common denominator here. And so you have to try to figure out, what is it that makes me want to be around people like that? Or what is it that makes me not be aware of what I'm doing in my friendships? Why am I not intentional? Do I not value friendships? Or do I not value these types of friendships? What does that really look like? I think that this is more of one of those things when we look at, well, you have to look at yourself. And then you also have to also separate the fact that, okay, this, especially when they say that, finding friends who offer genuine support without always looking for something in return. So relationships are reciprocal. They're not one way, right? So the problem is that what the first person said is that maybe what they want and what you want are two different things. And Taryn, and I think, when we had our time together, that was definitely one of the things. Like, okay, well, she sees friendship this way, you see it this way. How are y'all gonna meet in the middle? Because you're grown now. You're older now. And the way you saw things when you were that age, you see it very different. Think challenges, life experiences, that shapes us, that changes us. So it puts a different perspective on how we view friendships and what we need. And at the end of the day, sometimes the growing pain is hard because you've grown separate. You've sifted through your flour, and this is what my flour feels like. They've sifted through their flour, and this is what theirs look like. And it ain't going to make a good cookie anymore, right? So then we start to evaluate, well, what kind of friendship is this? And then we say, okay, I have to be okay. It's almost like a grief cycle. You got to be okay and accept that this friendship has evolved into this type of relationship now. And that's okay. right? So I think that there's a lot of different parts to this, but it always starts with you and what you view, what you see, and your expectations in terms of relationship, because that's what reciprocity is about. It's nothing but expectations. I expect this, you expect that. And if we want to go deep, which we don't have much time, but we can definitely go deep, because it's really about social exchange theory and social identity theory. And social identity theory is where we lump ourselves and connect ourselves with like-minded people. But then within that, we also have social exchange. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. And we know that in our community in particular, we know that that's how we survived. So if those two principles are not happening, our sense of belonging is zero, because you're not able to give me either one of them. So that means that this relationship wasn't good for you for the beginning. So get out of it, because it's not working for you. So you got to know, though, what that is for you, though. Again, self-awareness and breaking it down. And that's what I was talking about before when I said there's a strategy to that. That's what I was saying. Because maybe you do, like when my therapist was telling me, I said, hey, I'm ready to get out there again after my divorce. He said, well, how you know? I said, I don't know. He said, well, look, do this. Write down 10 things you like to do. Number them from 1 to 5. 1 being not really for real, but I just heard it was fun, to 5, absolutely. Then name 10 different activities associated with each one of them, and then rank those. Whichever one matches, either a 4 and a 5 or a 5 and a 4, those are the things you need to pay attention to and involve yourself in and connect yourself with. Because those are the places where you're more than likely going to meet somebody like-minded like you. And you'll be able to connect with somebody like-minded like you. And I'll be doggone if it didn't work. It works in every relationship. It works in jobs. It works, period. That strategy. That's the whole thing for another day, because I know we don't have much time. But there's a way to get there.
Love that. And you pretty much touched on that question that we have here. So if you need to replay this, and because we only have 5 minutes and we have 2 more topics, please circle back again to this question. Dr. Wiley did answer that. How do I identify when I should continue in investing in my friendship? So replay this to this exact moment, the 55-minute mark, and you will have your answer there. I know we got 5 minutes. This is such a plethora of information and wealthy information for us to get in 1 hour. These are our last 2 topics. We have trauma and mental health factors. I don't know if we should prioritize one or over the other, because they're so important. But you let me know how we should tag team these last 2 within the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, just go ahead. So we got trauma, and we have and we see the responses there, which are similar to what the other ones were. The things we're seeing here is betrayal, codependency, vulnerability, a lack thereof, nurturing, spending time, some mother wounds, not having the best relationship with mother-daughter relationships. What would be the next? What was the next one?
The next one was mental health. Should we go to that one, or the question comes up next for that trauma?
Okay. We can tap onto the question. What are some healthy steps you can take to address a trauma bond, and sabotage with people that are meant to be in our lives? Exactly. It really kind of goes back again to connecting with either a therapist or a life coach, or if you have counselors in your churches or wherever you belong, wherever you're connected in your community. And really, it's going to take some intentional investigative time on your part to peel back your onions, to peel back your layers. Peel back your layers to get to the core, to figure out where the trauma started, who did it, why they do it, work on some forgiveness, and really start trying to get that core out of there so that you can allow that place to heal, that trauma to heal. Because it's hindering you from being able to have relationships, and you don't want to continue to sabotage them. So I think that's a way to kind of get there. And there's lots of books out there too, guys, that will help you too, along with like workbooks and things like that can really help you through stuff like this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that kind of brings us into this last one, mental health factors, which is why we are here. And we can see here that our community members have said again that they get anxious in their relationships. Also, we see here that sometimes we find it hard to be consistent because we're navigating through our own issues. So we see those two themes represented here. How do we navigate that in regards to friendships? How do we hold space for others as we navigate our own issues and still try to show up in a healthy way in our friendships?
The best way that I can really just answer that in a quick way is to be honest and vulnerable, and be able to trust the person and tell them the truth. Like, you know what, girl, I don't even have space for this today. I gotta tell you, I don't. Today I'm really struggling. I want to hold space for you, but I cannot. I am really in a place. I'm in a space. What can we? What can, girl? What can we, girl? Help me out. Like, let's help each other. Let's just take a minute. Just being honest about, like, hey, I today I am not in the best place, but I definitely would love to to reconnect tomorrow, or can we talk later on tonight, or do we have some time to really help each other in this moment, because I'm really struggling and I really want to be here and I really want to connect and I want to do this, but baby, I'm not in the best place today. And in that, hopefully it's reciprocal in the relationship, that, hey, you know what, let me hold you for a second, let's talk, and then just, kind of go from there. um
That's
what are
amazing.
some Do you want me to look at this question
Oh,
too?
yes. So this question that we have as well that came up is what are some practical steps one person could take to make new friends while battling that anxiety and depression that they're navigating?
Hmm. I think that, let's see, where some practices one could take would make new friends. Well, also better. I think that, well, the number one thing is showing yourself some grace and being okay with that, and being okay with the process and not rushing yourself and pushing yourself to do the things, because this may not be the season for it, because this season just may not be the best season, because you have some work that you want to do or that you need to do, and that's okay. So don't make yourself feel bad, do the negative self-talking because you're not engaged or you're not doing the things. Like, show yourself some grace. And how we begin to do the inner work, this is a process that is definitely self-directed, but it's not necessarily meant to completely do alone. And I just, that last drive is, finding that coach, finding that therapist, finding that person you can trust that can invest the time with you to really help you navigate through this, and give yourself some grace and time, because this may be a 6 month process. This could be a year, could be 2 years, who knows, but we don't know how far the layers go back. So just know that it's a process and it's a journey, and just be committed to that, to exploring and actually doing the radical self-care that we need as we move to heal and to have healthy relationships.
I love that. And we just want to say thank you. We know it's 8:01. We don't want to keep you. We don't know if you ate dinner yet, but we just want to say again, thank you so much for all of the gems that you have dropped tonight. I know I personally need to go back and do some reevaluation. Just even like you said a few moments ago about being intentional and being honest about where we are in certain moments. If we don't have space, being honest about that. And then even asking our friends, do you have space to hear what I have to say? So I really have some reflection to do for myself. But again, we all just want to say thank you so very much for sharing with us tonight. It has absolutely been our pleasure to hear from you. We hope this is not the last time that we hear because, again, we packed so much in an hour. So we truly count it as an honor. And we are going to share how, if you need to follow up with Dr. Wiley, we are going to share her email address
Yes.
so that you can follow up with her if you have any follow up questions. I'm sure she will welcome and receive those in love. Before we do that, we want to announce that since you all have stayed until the very end, we have a little giveaway. So in the chat, you see a link there. Please fill out the survey. Let us know how you enjoyed tonight. Give us your feedback so that we can continue to bring important information and educational information to this space for us. So yes, fill that out, and then you will be entered to win a $25 gift card to either Target or Amazon. So girlies, y'all know those are the places we be. So make sure y'all fill that out. And if you would like to get in contact with Dr. Wiley, here is her email. Please use it wisely. Don't flutter too much, y'all. She does have a day job, but still reach out to her. I'm sure she welcomes that.
Yes.
We would love to hear from you all. And again, we're just so grateful. And also, if you have not followed us on all of our platforms, please take the time to do that. Make sure you stay connected so, again, we can continue to bring this amazing content. So, any last words that you want to say to us, Dr. Wiley, before we log off?
Thank you so much for allowing me to share this space with you. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you for allowing me to be in your space tonight and give this information and just have this. And Taryn, thank you so much. Taryn and crew, thank you so much for thinking of me. This is near and dear to my heart. I have chills, and I am just so glad that I was able to be here. And if y'all don't hear nothing else from me tonight, understand and know that you matter. You are worth it. You are worthy, and you got this. It's a journey, but you're going to be all right.
Amen.
You're going to be better for it. You're going to be all right.
We love
Contact me
it.
anytime. I'm old school. Sorry, I ain't got all the extras. I just email.
We working on her, y'all. We working to get her on all the platforms.
Get me together.
We gonna get her together, y'all, so y'all can follow her. But yes, your words were just a virtual hug to me. So thank you all so much. And then again, yes, I would be remiss if I did not shout out Annette and Shay, who have been truly helpful behind the scenes. Thank you both as well for being here with us and navigating the comments and posting everything for us. So we are grateful. Until next time, thank you all so much. And we will see you again next month for our next topic. So make sure you tune in. Bye, everybody. Have a great night. Eat and get some sleep. And we'll talk to you soon.